Hello, my friends. How are we all doing? This is March 31st, 2020, and once again, we're still on lockdown. We've got another 30 days to go until the end of April now, so this is going to be a long haul. What I'm trying to do here is to occupy my time by cooking various things that I have around the house. That's in order to keep from having to go to the grocery store or to even go out. I take this lockdown very serious, so I'm here for the long run. Today, I'm going to be making a corn salad or corn succotash. Very basic, very easy. You use things from your pantry. If you have things in your refrigerator, you can use that. Use canned items, those type of things, vegetables, etc. I'm going to show you what I have, and we're going to put this corn salad, or some call it succotash, together. Let's do this. These are my ingredients for my corn succotash or corn salad. There is no specific recipe because I use, as I mentioned before, a little bit of what I actually have in my pantry or my refrigerator. So for this one I did have a can of black beans, and this is a 15-ounce can, and I'm not going to use it all, but I opened the can, so I've got to use what part of it I need to use. I didn't have any fresh tomatoes, so I've got some diced tomatoes. Fresh would be so much better, especially a nice cherry tomato. But this will have to do for this recipe today. I've got corn. Usually when I make this recipe, I use canned corn. However, I had frozen corn in the freezer, so I thawed it out. And I actually ran it through the microwave for about a minute and a half just to get a little bit of the rawness out of it. I've got olive oil, and this is about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. When I do this type of a recipe, I sort of go by the way it looks and feels to me, so I don't know if I'll use all of this or not. I've got the juice of a half of a lemon. It would probably be better to use lime juice for that extra tartness to it. However, I didn't have any limes, all I have are lemons. I've got salt, pepper. I diced up some onion. And this is a white onion. Preferably, I would have liked to have had a red onion, but I'm out of that also, so I'm just going to use the white onion, dice it up. I have some sweet peppers. These are red and yellow peppers. I've got some basil, and this is from a plant that I have here growing in my kitchen, and I'm going to snip it up. I've got jalapeno that I've diced, and this is about one medium-sized jalapeno. I've got garlic, and this is the equivalent of about 2 cloves of garlic minced. Going back to the basil, preferably in this recipe I would have wanted to use something like cilantro. However, because I didn't have cilantro, we're using basil. Let's put this recipe together and I'm going to make some corn salad, corn succotash. One of the first things I'm going to do is I'm going to take my black beans, and I'm actually going to drain off the liquid that's in it. I'm going to take the black beans and I'm going to rinse it in cold water just to get off a lot of that residual starch. My black beans have been rinsed, so those are now ready to go into my corn salad. I've got my diced tomatoes. I'm also going to strain that. And when I strain this, I can actually keep that juice, that tomato juice, and use it in a separate recipe. I'm not going to rinse off the tomatoes. They don't need it. And you see I have nice little chunks of diced tomatoes. Thinking about the dice on my tomatoes, I think I'll cut them to be a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to take the kitchen shears and just go through and do some cuts. I don't want to mush them, I just want to make the bites a little bit more similar to what the corn and the black beans are. Let's put this recipe together. I'm going to start by adding my corn. And this is actually 2 cups of corn. And I'm going to let that corn be my guide to how much of the other ingredients I put in, the black beans and the tomatoes. And when I say my guide, I want to be able to not overpower the amount of corn I have in there with these other ingredients. So I'm going to start by putting basically a little bit, about half of the black beans that I started with. Mix that up. I'm going to do the same thing with the tomatoes. I'm going to start by putting in about half of that. Stir it around a little bit. And just looking at it, for me, I would say maybe I can put a little bit more of those tomatoes in. And I'm only going by the way it looks to me. When you do this, you may have a different idea of where you want it to look, how much tomato you want in there, or how much tomato you don't want in there. And then I've got my veggies I'm going to put in. I'm going to put in all the jalapeno, all the garlic, all of the sweet peppers, and all of the onion. When it comes to the basil, I'm just going to snip up some pieces to go in there with the kitchen shears. Just thin little slices. And I'm going to use all of what I had in the bowl, in the tray actually. And snipping, I love the smell of basil. It smells so good. This basil is from a basil plant that when you go to the grocery store and they have the whole basil with the roots there and they tell you to grow your own basil and keep it by your kitchen sink and use it as you need it. That's what this basil is. I'm going to show you that a little bit later on, just so you have an idea what I'm talking about. Let me finish adding everything that was on the plate. And we're going to give that a little mix. And you can see those colors are just vibrant and pretty. Make for a very tasty corn salad or corn succotash. I just wanted to show you my basil. You buy it in the grocery store. It comes in the container with the dirt in it. And all you have to do is just make sure that you always have water in there. And I just put it in a cup, plastic cup, and put it in my kitchen sink window. And this plant I have had since the end of January. So we're talking about almost 2 months, and it's still going. As I need it, I just go and snip some off. More does grow. So it was a worthwhile investment versus buying basil that's already been cut and paying about the same price that I paid for this plant. To finish off this salad, I'm just going to add some of the seasonings. I'm going to start off with my ½ teaspoon of salt. And I know it'll take a ½ teaspoon. Will it take more? I don't know. And we'll check it later on when it's all put together. I've got the ½ teaspoon of pepper. Then I'm going to add the juice of half of a lemon. And my olive oil. And we'll give that a toss so that we make sure that all those seasonings get to coat everything in the salad. And voila, there you have it. Corn salad or corn succotash. Goes good as a side dish with almost anything that you can think of. You can have it as a picnic dish, a side dish for barbecue. You can have it with fried chicken. You can have it with almost anything. Let's see if I've got... Keep in mind that there's also salt was in the beans. In addition, there's probably was some salt in the tomatoes. And I think, yes, I'm going to add a little bit more salt to this. But other than that, We're going to put this in the refrigerator and let all those seasonings meld, and it'll be ready for dinner tonight. I am going to add, this is about a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, an additional amount to go in there. This is Sylvie Curry, and we're still on lockdown, and we're cooking from the pantry and the refrigerator, cooking what we have, putting together meals for our family. Take care out there. Be safe.